Wait, where I'm going? Wait, where I'm going? Out of space, where I'm going? Out of space, where I'm going? I'll be up in the way. 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 Running on my face. Gucci guilty on my face. I'll be up in the way. 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 Can I talk to you? I've been working hard. I've been up all night. I just been so high. I feel nothing off the sands. Withdrawals killing me. I need something to sleep. Need you on top of me. I need to get high. Dreams designer all night. Chanel should be haunting my dreams. Wearing my Claire on my sleeve. I'm not who you need me to be. Indigo sound for the team. Royalty sound for the team. Hippie vibing for the team. I need space, girl. I need to get out, yeah. Slow my motions, leaning. I've been out, yeah. Never worry about me. I've been chilling. Can't do this no more. I'm in my feeling. Can't put your business all out in the open. Can't fix a heart that's already been broken. You changed my ways, I'm already hopeless. I take my time, I figure it out, girl. You know you are. I'll be up in the way. 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 Running on my face.
It is with great pleasure that I welcome you to today's graduation ceremony. Students, when you hear the reason or reasons for your absences throughout the years, please exit the auditorium without your high school diploma. Once you've exited, remove your cap and gown and proceed into the unknown. Too tired. Family trip. Part-time job. Helping around the house. Sick day. Starting the holidays early. Just because.
Starting in the 6th grade, students who miss 18 days or more of school in a year for any reason will fall behind and risk not graduating high school. How many days of school has your child missed this year? Absences add up. Keep track at boostattendance.org today. Brought to you by the U.S. Army and the Ad Council.
Now listen to BeExposedRadio.com. Check out this fire flashback.
We need to relearn what it is to be these bosses and how we conduct ourselves as business.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Individuals.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets, with millions of YouTube views.
All right, can they hear me now? Let me see. All right, I'm still here. All right, let me try this again. Y'all might not have been able to hear me. Welcome to the Black Body Man Radio Show. I'm your boy, Brother Mike. I will be your host, and I'm here with my partner in consciousness, the lovely Miss Janice.
Hello.
How you doing today, Miss Janice?
Very good.
Wonderful. All right, so let's, real quick, let's let the audience know what we're talking about today.
Okay.
So today's show is called 5 Things You Need to Quit. Now, this is based off of a post that was put up on Facebook by Dr. Boyce Watkins.
Okay.
I follow Dr. Boyce Watkins.
Okay.
Right? If you guys are not familiar with him, definitely look him up. He's a great entrepreneur, great brother. He's about us doing better as a community of people. So he put up a post on 5 things you need to quit. So because I'm familiar with him, I respect his opinion on things.
Okay.
Now, he didn't go into details on the 5 things. So what we did was we took those 5 things and put a little research into it so we can kind of give people the exacts of what he was communicating.
Nice.
But these are not necessarily his words. I just want to put that out there. But it was his post. I thought it was a great post. So I thought we could make a great show out of it and have a great discussion about it.
Nice.
But before we get into that, how was your weekend?
My weekend was good.
Was it good?
Let me think. Yeah, it was good. Yes, it was a good weekend.
The weather was good.
Was it?
Yeah, I think the weather was pretty good this week.
See, I wasn't paying the weather no mind.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But my weekend was great.
My weekend was good as well. No complaints. You know, we had a nice weekend. Spent time doing things that I like to do. I like to slam my head into something I'm gonna learn something about. And have a little fun.
Okay.
You know, so that worked out pretty good.
Of course, I mean, yeah, because with the weekends, I mean, of course, we have a lot of proms and all of those things coming up. I know this weekend, my baby is going to her prom.
Word. Yeah, it is prom season, right? Nice. Yeah, I got a chance to hang out with my brothers Saturday nights. I was with my brother DJ Big Man and my other brother Danny Poston.
Nice.
And you know, it was kind of old school. We did like we used to do back in the day. We get on the turntables. We have a little fun.
Who get on the turntables?
Well, you know, DJ Big Man is the main, you know what I mean, squeeze. But, you know, I was known to do a thing or two on the Wheels of Steel back in the day. So I have a little fun with it as well, you know. But I'm not a DJ. I don't claim that title no more.
Yeah.
I'm not in the game.
Let us find out.
It's nice to get on there and have a little fun. And get the microphone and, you know, say a few things.
I see.
So shout out to DJ Big Man and my brother Danny Poston. So, yeah, I did that. That was fun. We had a good time. Other than that, yeah, I pretty much relaxed and did a little research. You know, I wanted to learn a little bit more about these 5 things we need to quit.
Okay.
I put a little time into that, you know what I mean? So that way I know what I'm talking about today.
Okay. Is it 5 things we need to quit?
Yeah, 5 things we need to quit.
Do we need to quit?
Right. Yeah, I'm going to say I agree with what Dr. Boyce Watkins put up.
Okay.
I'm going to say I agree. So I'm going to go ahead and send out some invites. You guys can hang out with us today, and maybe you can talk to us about current events. What's going on in this crazy American society?
Oh gosh, what is going on in this crazy American society? Like seriously, it's serious. Okay, I want to talk about first the Zimbabwe pastor, who's now what's the word? Taking out demons by kissing. The word. No. Are we, you know, removing demons from our bodies now by kissing them out? Is that how they're getting the demons out now?
Not based on my teachings. I don't remember that part being in there anywhere.
I mean, because the kiss wasn't a peck. It was like
I did see that video.
A kiss.
It was an extended kiss.
And it was more, I mean, it was back to back. It was more than one kiss, and it was a pretty long kiss.
Right. You know, it reminds me of the scripture where the Most High says, "Woe to you Pharisees," you know, blah, blah, blah. Basically, I'm paraphrasing, "Woe to you Pharisees who are leading the flock astray." That's what it sounds like, you know, like he's taking advantage of his power. One of the things with our community, with religion, it is more jam-packed with our women than it is with our men. So when you got a man that's leading a bunch of women who are hanging on his every word and believing everything he says, this is how it leads to them doing these type of activities without the women thinking this is inappropriate. It's not enough men in there to say, hey, brother, wait a minute, what's this all about? So that's kind of my take on it.
That's serious.
Yes,
like, are we to the point? I mean, seriously, has, you know, religion gotten to the point of us just at this point just believing whatever?
Yeah.
And anything goes now. I mean, with this going on, I understand why, you know, Kanye feels like he can start a church.
Right. Absolutely.
At this point, I'm just saying, like, are we doing just anything in the church? Like, the churches are just being out of control. There's so much going on in the church right now, from even when we spoke about a couple weeks ago with the pastor and his, you know, $4,000 tennis shoes, and, you know, we kissing demons out, and it's
gonna kiss that demon away. You look a little bothered by that, Miss Cheese.
I just need some help with it.
Need some help explaining it, right?
I need somebody to tell me something. Call in, write in, text in, something. But I need somebody to tell me something where I can understand it just a little bit. Just to have some type of understanding. Because right now I have like none.
Right, yeah. And how could you? You know, like it's a tough task trying to understand wickedness. You know, when people do wickedness, you know, we can find the surface value. I'm sure he himself probably has got some type of sexual lust demon on him that's causing him to want to take advantage of his position and get a chance to put his hands on these women. But
as a person who serves the Most High, I can't imagine playing games like this. I can't imagine I can't imagine even sitting in that audience, even watching it, because I just can't imagine.
Walked out as soon as you seen that, huh?
I just can't imagine being in a surrounding of that atmosphere. I just can't imagine.
Right.
It's just not a game to me.
I think it's interesting that when those type of things happen, that nobody steps forward and says, "Can you show me in the scriptures something that supports what you just did?" Kissing women in the mouth, talking about you gonna remove demons. That's what I would ask. I think that's what I would ask.
I think he feel like he could get away with it because there's just so much corruptness going on in the churches today. We have a lot of corrupt things going on in the church today. So, if we're not questioning those things, I guess he's feeling like, why would we even question this?
True. Yeah, well, I think that is definitely a part of some of the setup within the Christian faith is that, you don't do a lot of questioning. That's kind of frowned upon. If pastor is doing things a certain way, you're supposed to just accept this is a man of God, so he knows what he's doing. And I think a lot of people do that blindly without, really using their common sense and questioning, is this appropriate?
So nowadays when people are attending church, are they attending as going in to get teachings, or are they just going just to praise and worship with everybody, or are they actually going in here to try and learn, scripture and understand it?
I think it's a double-edged sword. I think most of us attend church out of tradition. It's a family thing, your grandmama, your mama, all that type of stuff. And then there is a part where a lot of us actually do believe that we're being cleansed, and this is my way of showing love to the Most High God, so forth and so on. But it's more tradition than anything.
Because how can you, even with the churches today, are they teaching the same? Is the church teaching the same like they was 40 years ago? Because I'm just asking, because with all the newfound information now, and since we are in the information time, so with everything we know today, can they still teach the same lessons as before?
They can, and they still have a great crowd for it, because I personally don't think you learn anything in church. That's just my perception. I think it's the same as going to a concert. But
right, so I'm just saying, with what you hear today and what you know today, nobody minds evolve as to say could you remember what you grew up on, right? Absolutely. I remember what I grew up on. I'm on something totally different now. Right. So my question is, the teachings from 40 years ago, is anybody not evolving, or are people still hanging on to that 40 years ago tradition back in the church? Okay.
And I'll put this one on scripture. The Most High said, "My people perish because they lack knowledge."
Okay, I was just wondering, because
knowledge is now available. Traditional Christian teachings steer you away from anything that's outside of the church. This is how so many of us never find out what I believe to be the truth, because it's been marked as taboo. If you start looking into other stuff, they've convinced us that everything has to come directly from the pastor, never considering that maybe he's not on the up and up. But I digress.
That's very interesting. It's another whole show, but
that is definitely another whole show.
It's very
pissing people off.
It's very interesting to know that. We're still back in those days.
Right.
Okay. So I'm gonna move on from that.
Yeah, we're gonna move on from that because we want y'all to stay with us today. And somebody gonna be heated.
So I'll talk about some of the high schools. These high schools, particularly in New York cities, that specialize in the elite, like the technical high schools and things of that nature. We can even take the technical high schools and things that we have in Maryland. I don't exactly know how many students versus how many black students are at the ones in Maryland, but in New York City, there's one statistic that found 4,800 students who were admitted the 2019 and 2020 term. Only 190 were African Americans.
Not surprising.
It's not?
No, not to me, because I accept the reality of who runs this society and what they feel about us. See, I think when you haven't quite accepted that reality, then when you hear certain things, it's still a surprise to you. Nothing that dominant society could do to us or within this society would surprise me. Because I've accepted the reality, and it's a tough pill to swallow, to accept that there are people who run this society that hate you and your people.
But even one high school in Brooklyn, like they have 895 students, 7 of them are black. How does that happen? Like,
by design. Very carefully, by design.
Then they have another high school with 1,825 students with 95 black. Like, do we not have black students anymore? That we don't have enough? There was one with 304 students, and we had 1 black.
Right.
How does
So what's the message here?
that happen?
What do you think the message is?
The only message I could see in this is that they just don't want us in their schools.
Bingo! Hey, there it is. That's the message. They do not want you in their schools. Now, I'm not saying one way or another that you should try to get in their schools or not. I'm just simply speaking on the message that they are conveying to us is we don't want you there. But before we dive further into that, we're up on our first break. Stay with us. It's the Black Bottom Man Radio Show. Today we are talking 5 things you need to quit, and this is based off of a post by Dr. Boyce Watkins. We'll be back. Stay with us.
I mean, as we just
Join the Just a Bit Outside crew every Monday, 8 to 10 p.m. on BeExposedRadio.com.
You want to start off?
I think I'll get it out of the way on a who's not.
Okay, do it.
The Orioles.
Right.
They got swept by the Royals. They lost 4 in a row, and the last 5 games have all been decided by 1 run. The game before, or the last game that they lost before the Royals was the Nationals, and it was Weeders, of course, won with a home run.
Hit the home run.
Right.
They were going into that National series. It seemed like they were doing so well, and they just crapped out. They got that game postponed, so who knows when they're going to replay that or play that game. That's my first not for the night.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and weigh in on my who's not, and I'm going to talk about the San Diego Padres.
The Padres. That's okay. You just took my answer.
They're in last place in the NL West. They've lost 8 of their last 10. Their run differential is a negative 65, which is just horrible. So when you have well, let me just talk about run differential a little bit. It's kind of like the
how much you're winning or losing your games by, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. It's like the margin of victory, kind of.
Right.
So when you're in a negative number, that means that then
your average game you're losing
by a whole lot.
Right.
I mean, a number like negative 65, this early in the season is pretty rough.
That's horrible.
The pitching numbers pretty much support this stat right here. I mean, the team ERA is 4.70, which is 26th in the league. They have 126 walks allowed. They acquired Jared Weaver in the offseason, and he really has not panned out. He's off to one of the worst starts in any of the pitchers in 2017. He's 0-4 with a 6.05 ERA. In May alone, he already has 12 earned runs. 12 earned runs in May. And, another one of their pitchers, Clayton Richard, he's 2-4 with a 4.34 ERA. And, in May, he has 6 earned runs and 12 innings pitched. So they're not pitching well. And on top of that, they are also not batting well.
Right. But it kind of sucks because Manuel Margot is doing pretty good. His the past few at bats, his last.
Join the Just a Bit Outside crew every Monday, 8 to 10 p.m. on BeExposedRadio.com.
Instagram likes, followers, and fans across the globe. But what do all these amazing pets have in common? Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a shelter or adoptable pets near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard? Well, that's entirely up to you. Visit theshelterpetproject.org and hear more about Hamilton the Pug, Toast, and Keyboard Cat's amazing adoption stories. Start a story, adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Your perfect pet is just a click away at theshelterpetproject.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Madison.
Okay. If I sit around, hold up. Look. If I sit around, hold up. Yeah. Rub. Let's do it.
If I sit around, I'ma smoke some more. Wasn't even thinking about smoke before, but I'm in my head and I'm in the bed. Don't know who I am, like I'm wearing a mask. Working mode, tell him where the cash. If you wear the cash, tell him where the cash. If you playing for you, gon' run it back. Don't make promises, but I promise that. Don't promise me, cause I ain't into that. Fell in love with that and got hurt from that. Now it's all over and the curtains back. Can't see you not noticing that. I'm letting it go, it ain't holding me back. Yeah, I'm on dice, but ain't come for the crack. Drinking with uncle, we only do jack. How I'm alive, I thank God for that. Praying about it, things getting better. Open it up with my name on the letter. Why you crazy about it? Saying whatever, you shy to be you. You know you gotta be you. Sometimes I need privacy too. Yeah, you know I ride.
Hey, there's my son. You've been in your room all morning.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Black Body Man Radio Show with your host, Brother Mike, and co-host, the lovely Miss Janice. So in case you guys missed the top of the intro, today's show is going to be on 5 things you need to quit based on a post from Dr. Boyce Watkins. So we did a little research to kind of try to challenge this to see if this really is 5 things we need to quit. So we were finishing up current events.
Yeah, we was finishing up current events.
Any more?
No.
Okay. These current events be rough. All right, so let's get into the show. So we are talking 5 things that you need to quit. And again, this was based on a post posted by Dr. Boyce Watkins. He's someone that I follow. He's a great brother to look up on Facebook. And again, he just put up the 5 things. I decided to do a little research on it so we can challenge it to see if it's really 5 things we need to quit. So the words that you hear me say are not necessarily from Dr. Boyce Watkins. I want to make sure we all have that understanding. That way, if I do say something that he may not agree with, it's not based on his words.
Okay.
All right, so 5 things we need to quit. So number 1 on his list was trying to please everyone. All right, to some extent, we are all guilty of pleasing, some more than others. Seeking others' approval steals time, energy, and focus. If you're making everyone happy, you're also making some of the wrong people happy. You're trying to please people who are judgmental, controlling, arrogant. People who require others to do what they want them to do before they extend approval. So, to keep the hurtful people happy, you must do some things that are not good for you in the long run. You have to make some bad choices to keep these people smiling. So, how do we feel about number 1, trying to please everyone?
Can we please?
Right, Nate?
Is that even possible?
He says it's 5 things, it's one of the 5 things you need to quit.
Oh, I know we go out our way to do it.
Yeah, I definitely know I'm guilty of it. I've been guilty of trying to please people.
I think I have in the past. I think I left that.
Mine was definitely in the past.
I think I left it a long time ago because what you're going to find out is it's impossible.
It is impossible.
Even when you think you are pleasing folks, they always want more. You have to, it's never enough.
That's true. That's true. Here's a question. Where do we think a lot of this is coming from? So when it comes to pleasing people, is this things we're facing with coworkers, family, or friends? What area probably is it heaviest at?
I don't know. It's all of the above.
All of the above? Okay.
Yes.
I would think family and friends, but again, I'm not really, an expert on it. But it seems like that's where the most care would come from.
Because you try to please coworkers, family. I think it's all of the above.
Okay.
That's why I'm assuming he's saying we have to get out of the habit of trying to please everybody. I
do agree with that. I do think we have to get out of the habit of trying to please everyone.
Because it's actually everybody.
Yeah, I think it can become a very bad habit. What I discovered with my personal experience is that I was trying to please people because I cared too much about their opinion. You see where I'm coming from?
Yes.
So that, to me, makes me immediately go back to family and friends. Maybe not so much with coworkers, but family and friends seems to be who we value the highest opinion of. And sometimes everyone is not just being honest with you. They're really taking advantage that you're going to try to please them. So I want to read this one part again real quick, right? Where it says, you're trying to please people who are judgmental, controlling, and arrogant.
Right.
Is this true?
Yes. And just think about what you just read, and those, just think about it. Like, those are the worst people to try to please. They're the ones who need to be pleasing you. If it's anything, like, they need to be trying to, because they're judgmental. They're already judgmental. I think that's why you go through so much trouble trying to please them, because they are so judgmental that you just want that one good judgment from them to say, like, okay, you're fine, you pass, you're good.
So on quite a few of the other shows, I would focus on saying, there's a common thread that I've mentioned, where I said, in order for you to really, pursue your dreams in life and do the things that you want to do, there's got to be a little bit of selfishness involved with it, because a lot of times the people that we're surrounded by, families, friends, co-workers, are often not supportive of some of the things you want to do, unless it fits within the box that they feel you should be in. I think they touched on this a little bit, and what's really strong for me with this is when it says it steals time, energy, and focus. I think that's the biggest part of this.
It definitely steals time, energy, and it definitely steals focus.
So let's deal with focus.
Okay.
It steals focus because you are concerned about what they're thinking.
Yes.
You cannot reach maximum capacity of focusing when you have stress over what someone else is going to think about what you want to do.
Right. Because even if you're coming up with say you have a new idea and a new plan, and instead of putting all your focus in that and making that idea and plan thrive, you're so, like you said, you're so busy, worried, and concerned about, oh gosh, what is so and so going to say about this?
What is my closest friend going to think?
And that's stealing your focus away.
What's my mother going to think? My father, my sister, my brother, because they may not agree with what it is you want to do. And the thing that has to be taken in consideration is whatever their disagreement is, whatever their critique is this an honest critique, or is this critique based out of fears that they have that you might do something they couldn't do,
but don't we
something better than them?
But don't we need, some type of pleasing from people? Don't we need it?
We do. We do, and I think that's why we seek it. I think it's human nature to want the people who are closest to you to support whatever it is you want to do. I think the problem comes in that if they don't give that support, sometimes we may let it go completely, because you got 2-3 other people who feel like, I don't think you should do this, this might not be the best move for you. But at the end of the day, whatever move you make, the result is affecting mainly you. So you have to take that in consideration too with your decision. I understand they don't agree with it, but if it's what you want to do, it's what you want to do.
I mean, I totally agree. I totally agree that we need to stop.
So for those that's tuning in with us today, feel free to type in and let us know, do you agree that one of the things that we need to quit is trying to please everyone? Let us know how you feel about that. We think this may be a good one. I think Dr. Boyce Watkins may be on to something with this one.
I mean, don't you spend how much of your time or how much of your day do you take trying to please somebody? Just ask yourself that question and see what you come up with. That way that you'll know if you need to quit it or not.
That's a good question to ask yourself.
If you're taking 80%, 70% of your day trying to please folks, then you know something's wrong.
Because we're talking about time, energy, and focus. So I definitely get the focus part, because it is going to be hard to focus if you're worrying about what other people are thinking.
Yeah.
Energy.
Yeah, that your energy is not even going to be positive and motivating when you're sitting up here thinking about these things. Remember, we just did the show last week on affirmations, when this all needs to be good, positive energy, great. This can't be positive, great energy if we're sitting here focused and concerned about how other people are going to feel about whatever it is we're doing.
True. So that's wasted energy right there. I'll offer another version of energy being wasted. How about the energy that you spend trying to convince someone who you value their opinion, family, friend, coworker, and you know they're not in agreement with what you want to do, and you spend energy constantly trying to convince them that what you want to do is going to be a good thing, and you can see and feel the resistance they're putting up. At what point do you just stop? Do you just say, okay, that person doesn't agree, but I'm going to do what I need to do?
Now, first, I'm gonna have to ask a stupid question first.
No such thing as a stupid question.
I'm gonna have to ask
all
a
questions
stupid
are good.
question first. Now, these people that you're trying to please, are they trying to please you back?
Interesting. Very interesting.
Because I'm gonna need to know that answer first and the foremost before anything.
My experience, now I'll just say my experience. My experience has been that people I've tried to please had no concern about pleasing me. You know, like if they wanted to do something, they did it. You know, they didn't care that I didn't approve or think it wasn't the best move. So I don't know. I can only speak from my experience. But
So again, we need their approval because what?
Well, I think we seek their approval out of love. You know what I mean? Because
I understand
you know,
that.
you love and respect your families and your friends, you know, and probably some coworkers too. So if it's someone that you value their opinion and you feel that this person has a very rational and logical perspective on life, and then you say, this is what I want to do with my life, and they're like, I don't know if that's the right thing. It kind of brings you down a little bit, you know? So I think it's out of love. Now, part of my solution, and again, this is just me, but I offer it to the world. I had to learn how to not care about what other people thought. Now, I'm not saying I completely dismissed other people's thoughts. I'm just saying in a situation where it's something I feel very strong about that I want to do, and then, you know, other people, you know, may not necessarily agree with it.
Right.
I had to learn, well, I got to put more value in what I feel. Now, I think this also can go different directions. And what I mean is some people hold a higher value with their opinion than others.
Yes.
So if it's your mother, you're probably going to really consider what she's saying. You know, mom knows best, right? Your mother might know something you didn't. Same with your father.
Yeah.
But I think oftentimes these are not, you know, always the people that we're trying to please. I think it falls more into like other family members and then friends and then maybe a little bit of coworkers, you know, because usually mom usually supports what you do. As long as you ain't talking nothing crazy, right? As long as you ain't going off the grid with what you talking, your mother's probably usually going to be like, yeah, you should do it. You know what I mean? You should be who you want to be. Because here, look, here's something interesting that just came to me, right? Okay, so say it's your mother, right? And you decide that you want to do something that you know is left field. So I'm just going to pick something out the air, right? Say you wanted to be a ballerina, right? Now, you know, your brothers, your sisters, they probably going to be looking at you like, what? A ballerina, you know what I mean, right? But your mother might support you, and your mother might end up letting you know, when you was a little girl, you always wanted to be a ballerina. I'm not surprised that 30 years later or whatever, all of a sudden you want to get involved with being a ballerina. So you just never know what your parents remember about you, because that's who knows you from the rooter to the tutor. They knew who you was before you knew who you was.
I'm glad you used that word, support. That's a big word. Because when you're trying to please people, that's the biggest thing I'm assuming you're looking for is the support of, you know, whatever it is
you're seeking approval.
You're trying to please. And that's I guess that's why he says we have to stop, because we're not getting it.
Because unfortunately, you know, when you look at, you know, say hating, you know what I mean? Hating comes from family and friends and co-workers. Like, you know, jealousy and envy comes from people you know. It doesn't come from, you know, strangers. You know, at least a lower percentage of it comes from strangers. Majority of it comes from family and friends. And this is why it affects us the way it does, because these are the people we love. So we consciously and subconsciously seek their approval on things that we've done. Sometimes even when we don't know it. You know, you might just go to your uncle who you got a good rapport with, and he say, you know, what you up to, man? Oh, you know, I went and applied for a job at BGE last week. Now, subconsciously you may be seeking his approval. In your mind, you could just be thinking, I'm just informing him of what I've done here lately. But I think a psychologist would say you're also seeking your uncle's approval. You want your uncle to say, good job, nephew, that's a good job. You know what I mean? I hope you get it, so forth and so on. So we're seeking approval.
It's so disappointing. No, it's just so disappointing that, you know, family and friends put us in that position. Like, it's so disappointing that we have to, you know, try to go out our way to even try to please them. Like, that's...
Yeah, I think it's natural, but I also think that this is why when we have that one particular friend or that one particular family member who, like, always supports you, like, we go hard for them. Like, I'm gonna call my Aunt Gloria up because, you know, Aunt Gloria always supports me. You know what I mean? If I can tell her I'm about to spend $100 on lottery tickets. All she gonna say is, well, baby, make sure you pick the right numbers. You get what I'm saying? You know, so we have a higher level of appreciation for the ones who do back us.
Well, why are we so judgmental then? Why?
Well, you know, it's a lot of psychological warfare that's happened to us as a community of people. And as black people, we are still in the state of mind of competing against each other. This is what makes it difficult for us to support each other. So your friends are happy for you that you say, I'm going back to school, I'm gonna get my master's degree. Not so much happy once you graduate and start making $108,000 a year. They kind of fall off a little bit, you know. So it's psychological warfare where we still competing with each other.
Well, that's why we're going to have to stop trying to please everybody. Because if at that point we're never going to get where we're trying to go, then
yes,
because it's never going to happen. We're never going to be able to please everybody.
No, you're not. You know what I mean?
Every turn, it's going to be somebody there. Like, no. It's just, you're never going to be able to please everybody.
You're not going to be able to please everybody, and I'll speak on the psychological side of it. See, on the psychological side, as a human being, we all want to be liked. Now, there's a bunch of people who would say, not me. I don't care who like me. I don't care who don't like me. Okay. If that's what you really believe, you stick with that. But I promise you that that's not true. We all want to be liked. You understand what I mean? So that plays a part in wanting to please people. It's not a feel good when you say something to someone who you want to like you and you want to support you and then they don't. You know, that psychological side of wanting to be liked, you know, it does things to you. You know, and this is why when you have, say, like celebrities who have been in the limelight for a long time and then they fall off and now they can go to the grocery store and nobody even pays attention to them. They reached the pinnacle of people loving them and then got dropped from it. Some of them commit suicide. Some of them get on drugs. You know what I mean? Because something's been taken away from them. Everybody used to love me. Now they don't even know me. You know, so you can see how it's within everybody. We're just not on a celebrity level. But when you go to work, you want your coworkers to feel like you're a decent person. You want your family to feel like, you know what I mean, you're a good person and you don't overstep your boundaries and you help people when they need help. So we tend to try to strive to get people to like us. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's better to be liked than disliked, you know, but I think it also plays a part into why we go so hard with trying to please people.
It's too much.
It's a lot. I think for me, what worked was realizing why I was that way. And it was because I cared too much about what other people thought. You know, and it's not that I stopped caring. It's just that I minimized it enough where I could still be me. I'm not going to agree with everything I do, but I'm going to still do what I do. Because as long as it's not, you know, bringing maliciousness or harm into someone else's life, I don't really see what there is to disagree with someone wants to do.
The one thing I found out the most is when you do stop trying to please folks, it's like you please everybody for some reason. When you just not out here trying to please them and just go ahead and, you know, do you keep your attitude? I don't know, somehow, I don't know, it pleases people.
It seems like
when you don't seek approval from people, I don't know. Somehow you just get
sometimes they don't like it. You know what I mean? Like when you go from being someone that was constantly trying to please people, and then you change. You know what I mean? You get some knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and then you change, right? Family and friends, they don't like it. You know what I mean? Because they can no longer use you. They can no longer play mental games with you, and they don't like it. You know what I mean? In all reality, all you're doing is now protecting yourself and saying, at the end of the day, this is my life. I have to live it the way I want to live it, even if some people close to me not going to be happy about it.
Yeah, so I think I think number one is a big one.
What I'm basically saying is they're going to say you funny acting. That's what we do. They're going to be like, she funny acting, he funny acting.
The ones who's trying to give you a stamp of approval is going to say you're funny acting.
Right. They will label you funny acting. I'm telling you. If you start doing your thing, within the black community, you will get a little backlash for that.
The ones who want to be judgmental over everything. At this point now, you're funny acting.
As they say, people project onto you their fears. So if you say you want to run for vice president, they're going to project their fear onto you. You can't do that. You get what I'm saying? In all reality, it's like, no, you can't do that. I can do whatever I want. So as far as trying to please everyone, we agree that this is one that we need to quit.
Absolutely.
Now, I want to say something on that, right?
Okay.
I don't think he's saying stop being pleasing. There's nothing wrong with being pleasing.
Yeah.
I enjoy being pleasant. I enjoy speaking to people. I'm a person on Facebook. I hit the like button. I hit the like button because it's the nice thing to do.
Okay.
I like your posts, right? And what does it hurt? That could change someone's day. Now, I know that seems real superficial, but let's be real. If you're on Facebook and you put up posts, you want someone to hit the like button.
Do you? Is that like button important?
Hey, listen, this is what they turned us into. We on here fishing for likes, right? But I'm just saying, when someone puts up a nice post, I hit the like button.
Okay.
Now, I could be wrong when I say this, right?
Okay.
But this is what I'm going to say. When people put posts on Facebook, in some way, shape, or form, that post is a representation at a minimum of what they feel at that moment.
Okay.
At a maximum, a representation of their personality.
Okay.
So when Dr. Boyce Watkins puts up 5 things you need to quit, the way I receive that is he is saying, I support this. I believe in this. So I'm saying, if I'm in agreement, I'm going to hit the like button. And I'm not going to say, I'm not going to hit the like button because such and such posted that and they got a lot of nerve to post that. They don't live that way. You get what I'm saying? I'm not one of them dudes. I just hit the like button to show that I support it and I like it. Because often I believe that sometimes people can put up posts, and even though they're not maybe particularly living up to that, but it's the start for them saying, I want to start being this way. If you and I hit the like button, that's giving them support to move in that direction.
Yes.
That's just my take. This is my take. It doesn't hurt to be nice. You know what I mean? Doesn't hurt to be nice.
It do not.
All right. So we agree that trying to please everyone is one of the things that we need to quit. You have to develop a little bit of selfishness and focus on you. So if you know the circle of people that you hang with, encourage going out a lot, encourage spending money a lot, and then you want to get on something different, you're going to have to do that for yourself and just not care about, they're not going to be pleased with you when you say, I'm not going to the bar this weekend, I'm not going to that event with y'all, I'm going to stay home and work on this, work on that, so forth and so on. And it does take strength. It takes a little bit of courage to get like that.
It really does.
But you can do it. You can do it.
But if you want to get out here and live some of your dreams and be happy,
right?
Yeah, you're gonna have to.
You're gonna have to do it. So number one's a winner. Number one is a winner.
Winner.
Stop trying to please everyone. All right. Number 2 of the 5 things you need to quit, according to Dr. Boyce Watkins. Number 2 is fearing change.
That's a big
fearing change. All right, it says we recognize that change can be good for us. It's obvious that if you quit smoking and lose weight or develop a running habit, this will improve your life. Yet we fail at change over and over. Why? Odds are that you are afraid of change. You procrastinate because deep down, you're scared to take the plunge, even if it leads to a better life. There is hope, though. Once you find and acknowledge your fears of change, you can take the steps to conquer them. So learn the 5 most common fears. So we're going to go over the 5 most common fears that deal with change. But before we do it, let's just talk about this first part. Fear of change. Is this common amongst us?
Absolutely. The biggest thing about being fearful of change is it's like you're so used to being a certain way. You've done it for 30 years, maybe more. You're so used to that. It's like when you start to change or whatever, you're coming out of that comfort zone you've been in for so long.
True.
That as soon as you get out a little bit, and even the statement that he said, even if it leads to a better life, that's very true. Because even think about when some people come out of their comfort zone for a moment, most of the time you experience something better, something good, something wonderful, but you're like so afraid that, this is just
to stay on that path.
You're so afraid, like
that makes sense.
This is surreal.
It was so good, it was too good to be true.
Too good to be true.
Too good to be true.
But you just get right back to that comfort.
It sounds like you're saying you almost just want to be happy with that one moment and appreciate that and say, I'm not going to do it again because I know it ain't going to happen that good again.
Right.
When in all reality, it may just happen that good again.
Yes, it could be the rest of your life at that.
It could be that big of a change.
Yes.
Absolutely. I'll read a comment here. Terry Hegg says sometimes they're looking for justification by posting stuff they know will get people's attention. Absolutely. There are a lot of fishers on Facebook that are fishing for attention. You know, like one that I find is people put up a post. They in the hospital with an IV.
You're so crazy. I can't deal with you.
With an IV in their arm. You know what I mean? Like, my day going bad. I just be looking like, why would you post that?
People put that on Facebook.
Yes, they do, but I'll go ahead and, click the, like button or whatever. Hope you feel better. But it does fit what Terry's saying. It seems like they're fishing for some type of attention. He says, you have to always be willing to grow and learn. True. Ms. Johnson says people are afraid of failing, but how would you know if you wouldn't be successful if you don't try? True, true. And we are going to touch on that, because I believe that's one of the 5. Yes, it is. This fear of change without always recognizing that we have a fear of change, because sometimes we may not know that that's what it really is. We're fearing change. So let's go over the top 5. So the 5 most common fears, number 1 is exactly what Ms. Johnson just said, fear of failure. So that's number 1. The fear of failure is common. People feel that they will fail, waste time, and accomplish nothing. People feel failure because they are prideful. They're scared to commit to something that they could fail at, so they don't try. The fear is unfortunate because it's irrational yet easy to succumb to. So that's deep. So they're fearful because they don't really think they can do it.
And I think we all have that feeling of failure at one time or another. I remember when I was about to open my first shop, and I was terrified of failure. That's the only thing came to my mind. Like, oh my gosh, what if I fail, don't succeed? Like, oh gosh, at least right here, because of course I was at a kitchen, at home beautician kitchen. So I'm like, it's all great here. So you move over here, and what if everything just goes
right? Your mind starts working against you.
So it's normal to get the failure, that feeling of failure at one point in your life. I think it
is normal.
But like you say, you just gotta overcome it, work through it, and talk yourself out of trying.
Absolutely.
You have to talk yourself out of not trying. You have to still do it.
Absolutely. Stay with us. We up on break. We'll be back. Black by the Man Radio Show.
Whatever happened to the times when we cared for one another? We shared the same respect. What is happening? what's important for shiny things. I can't allow this blasphemy. It's blasphemy. Why would you treat yourself like that? We didn't come this far just to fall right back. Where I'm from, don't lose yourself, stay on track. Baby, you're a god. You're a god. Baby, you're a god. Believe that. Full of the things that we've overcome. Full of unspoken battles we've won. You're so much better than that. Sometimes the truth ain't always catchy as rap. Stop chasing cheese or you get stuck in a trap. Go get your crown and never render it back. No, it's blasphemy. Why would you treat yourself like that? Stop all that blasphemy. We didn't come this far just to fall right back. Baby, you're a god. You're a god. You're a god. You're a god. Baby, you're a god. You're a god. Baby, you're a god. Believe that. You're way too gifted to stop and listen. It's condescending, not to mention all of our ignorance. Is there permission to? I know you like to turn up like that. With a drink to pull up like that. Well, baby, there ain't nothing wrong with that. Just make sure the God in you stays where it's at. You're the rising sun of a new day begun. Grind on till victory's won. I pray you do your thing till earth and heaven ring. Just don't forget where you come from.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
You ain't heard it before? That spirit you take for granted is the God of your soul. It's a price that you owe. It can never be
Welcome back, everybody. So we're going over 5 things that you need to quit. And with number 2 is fear of change, but within it we have 5 of the most common fears. So we were just going over fear of failure. I like when it says people feel failure because they're prideful. They're scared to commit to something that they could fail, so they don't try it. I think that's a major one. You know, like I figured that out when I was a little bit younger. So my experience was this. I would, decide I'm going to try to do something.
Okay.
And, then I would tell people, right? So even if they didn't, flat out discourage me, what would happen is they wouldn't support you. And then when you failed at it, that's when they would come back and want to talk to me about it. So they might have heard that I didn't accomplish what I wanted to accomplish from somebody else. So then when they run into me, they're like, oh, how's such and such going? How's that thing going with that bike you building? Now, somebody else had already told them, that I didn't achieve what I was set out to achieve.
Right.
And I think that's a part of what gives people that fear. The fear of looking other people in the face and saying I didn't accomplish what I wanted to accomplish, because most of the time when we go into something that we want to try to do, we go into it with the right spirit. We're pumped up about it because at that moment you're thinking you might be able to do it. And then if it don't work out, I think that adds to you becoming fearful of failure.
Now we see why number 1 is number 1. Stop trying to please people. Because again, that goes back to us trying to please them. Like,
yes.
We're so afraid to tell them like it didn't work out that we're not even trying now. We're not even going to try to do it.
Fearful of their disappointment. Terry Hegg says it's good to have a little fear because that's the part of your hunger and will make you work harder, because you don't want people to say, wow, they just started the business and it folded already. True. I definitely see that perspective. And I think naturally you are going to have a little bit of fear.
Yes.
Now, whether this fear paralyzes you to a point where you don't even try it, or it, like he said, it becomes your hunger.
Yes.
You want to get rid of the fear, so you're going to conquer it. You, during the break, said the first time you did the Black Potted Man radio show, there was a lot of fear that set in on her.
I was about to die. I was dying.
Say the mere thought of knowing that all kinds of hundreds of thousands of people are like looking at you, and then somebody asks you a question. So what do you think about the hurricane that happened? You over there like,
don't play. I think that was like my very first question too. Like I don't know. It was just like a hurricane. Something just went on, and you was like, "What do you think about it?" And I was just like, I don't even know what you just. I didn't even know what you just said. Like I never even heard your question. Like,
now, aren't you glad you conquered that fear though?
Yeah, but you just see a person's lips moving, but you don't actually hear anything. So it's just like you're sitting there, and it's just like
you froze up.
Yeah.
But you did it. You made it.
So it was very.
Not only did she make it through that show, she made it to a point where now she's the co-host. So bravo to the lovely Miss Janice. She has conquered her fears. So yeah, it says that they're scared to commit to something that they could fail. So that's a lack of confidence, huh? Looking at something and then telling yourself, I can't do this. I can't fly this plane. I can't get this motorcycle license, or whatever. So we got to remove that. We got to remove that. They say it's unfortunate because it's irrational, but very easy to succumb to.
It is.
It is, especially if people you've been around suffer from the same thing, which a lot of us do because it's so common.
And we're so bad at that fear. We're so bad at it. We know exactly what to do too, because we'll call certain people that we already know is going to talk you out of it.
Right.
You'll call them up like, hey, I was thinking about doing this, and you already know what's about to come out.
You want somebody subconsciously to talk you down off
out
that
of
ledge.
it. Like,
talk me off this ledge, man.
You get
I'm
the
about
right
to do
people
something.
to talk you out of it, and now it was never even.
You stay in your little zone.
Yep.
All right, so number 2 of the 5 most common fears is fear of pain, discomfort, and effort. It's rational to avoid pain and discomfort. It's reasonable to avoid effort. However, all these things prevent you from changing. They prevent you from running, from eating healthy, from starting your own business. This is probably the hardest fear to overcome, but the most worthwhile. So fear of pain, discomfort, and effort. Where would the pain come from?
The pain would come from, oh gosh, I have a great example. I don't even know if I want to use it though.
Take your time, give that some thought. I'll read a comment while you think on that. Ms. Johnson says, don't tell everyone all of your moves. This way you avoid people talking about you, at least until you're successful. Yes, that was the path that I took.
And the pain can come from, because this is so personal, it's so personal for me, but the pain can come from, like, even sometimes if you're in like a relationship and you're so afraid of being happy that you just don't let it happen. You just don't be happy. You just continue to be miserable, and that's painful. It hurts. Yes, it hurts.
Okay, I can see that. I can definitely see that.
No, it could be painful. You can choose the miserable versus the good life. You could take the bad, and that's painful. But we will put that on us just for the fear of being happy.
Fear of being happy? Yeah, so that's similar to another one we're going to do, actually the third one. But so pain, I can see pain coming from that. What about discomfort?
You're gonna be scared to feel any type of discomfort, pain, or whatever. But I don't know, discomfort.
What about the discomfort of coming outside your box? You becoming a member of the Black by the Man radio show was a little outside your box, so it was a little discomfort.
It's way outside my box.
Okay, it's way outside our box.
It's way outside my box because first of all, I'm not a public speaker. And I have too much anxiety to be trying to talk to anybody about anything.
Okay. Well, we glad you conquered it.
Unless it's behind like closed doors or something. Nothing with no lights, camera, or nothing shooting in your face. That's a whole different ballgame. That's coming out the box.
Well, you did well.
That's coming out of my box. But at least I didn't, like pull away from it like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. I'm not going to do it.
You didn't let the discomfort take over you.
Yes, I knew like I had a fear of it. And I'm like, you know what? Like I have to try. Like, I at least have to try.
I'm glad you did.
I have to try to overcome.
Well, we are glad you did, and we're glad she's still with us at the BBD radio show. So yeah, pain, discomfort, and effort. It seems like the discomfort and effort could go hand in hand. Because when you put forward certain amounts of effort, there can be discomfort associated, whether that discomfort is physical, where you are, say, trying to be healthy, so you start running, right? You start eating different. Or it's a mental discomfort. Whatever it is you're going to do, you're not getting support from your family and friends. That can be discomfort. But this all requires your effort. So your effort can be a part of causing the discomfort. You know, no different than like if someone goes to college. You know, college is not high school, right?
Right.
So when you go to college, you got to put forth more effort with studying, and it's going to be a little discomfort involved. You know, when you realize I got to really go hard for this class in order to achieve the long-term goal.
Right.
So I can see how the comfort and effort could go hand in hand, and just the fear of the pain of whatever you're going to have to sacrifice in order to achieve your goal, because everything involves sacrifices. You know, sacrificing your time, sacrificing your energy, sacrificing not doing something that you love to do in order to get done something else you need to do.
Right.
So I can see that. I definitely see how that makes it into the top 5 of the fears. All right, so the third one is the fear of success. I think this one's real common, more common than what we probably know.
That's like one of the biggest ones.
Okay, it says, it seems like an oxymoron. How could someone be afraid of success? Simple. Success comes with baggage. People pay more attention to you. You feel pressure. Most importantly, you will be different. Better probably, but different, and that can be scary. It is a real fear that many people face, and it can be liberating. The fear of success. So now we have something that I think we can all grasp onto about the fear of success. Because the question that it posed, how could someone fear success? It makes sense. If you said that to somebody, well, you have a fear of success, they would probably think you're crazy. What do you mean I have a fear of success? I want success.
Yes, it's so true. The fear of success, that's like a big one. I experienced that, and it was like, it's the best thing you can do, because you're not going to be the same. You are going to be different.
You are going to be different.
Everything's going to change. You're going to be like, what the heck is going on? But it's going to be wonderful.
And they said it comes with baggage.
It did.
And we might be scared of that baggage. Now, what I think about when I hear that is being a boss. Like everybody wants to be a boss, right? You hear everybody say that. I'm a boss this, I'm a boss that, right? I'm a boss woman, I'm a boss man. But when you actually are the boss, there's baggage that comes with that. There's pressure that comes with that.
So much.
You might not want to be the boss like you think you do. Because I think when we think about a boss, we just think about that power. We think about this is who's getting all the money. You know what I mean? This is who makes the commands. But we don't think that this is also the person that gets all the bills. This is the person who gets all the pressure to keep the company rolling. You get what I mean? Sometimes it might be better to be the third person in charge. You just get to leave with your paycheck. May not be as big as the boss's, but your responsibility level is not as big as the boss.
It's a lot of, it is. Success is scary.
It can be, according to, you know, what they're saying with these fears.
You just be afraid. When people used to come ask, and they'd walk up to me and they'd be like, "You're the boss." Like, you used to be so afraid of that word. Like, no, I'm not the boss. I'm just the manager.
Like, I'm not the boss.
I'm just the manager. Like, I have a boss. Like, you just accept that you're the boss and just move from there.
Yeah, that's
true.
true.
You're so afraid to take it on. Like, yes, I am. Like, it's just so much that comes with it.
The title alone is heavy. That's what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah.
The title is heavy.
It's just
the fact that someone's going to come to you and say, are you in charge? Are you the boss? Because you already know that that's coming with something, right? If you say yes to this, you about to get hit with everything these people coming with. And you the person we want to talk to.
And it's just, it's just so it's just afraid of success. It's funny. It's funny that we're even talking about this.
So with this fear, it says, you know, we have a fear that people are going to pay more attention to you. Yes. Just when you thought you wanted some attention, you end up becoming successful.
Yeah, but you're afraid it's going to be the wrong attention. They're going to be looking for everything you're doing wrong at this point. So that's why you're afraid of the success, because now you know you're going to have 1 million eyes looking at you, and everybody's waiting for something to go wrong. Like, you saw that? I did. Like, so
right.
But you can't, like I said, you can't be afraid of the success. It's only going to make you better. Like, once you accept it, it's just going to make you better. It's going to make you change. And
it says you feel pressure. I could definitely agree to that. There's pressure involved with it. You know, it suddenly goes to all eyes on you.
It's pressure in everything. It's pressure when you're not the boss.
I like that.
That's
a good way to look at that.
Yeah, so
it's pressure in everything. So you can't run from the fear of success because of the pressure that's going to come along with it. You know, because you don't know how strong you are until you get put in situations, you know, like it's a little joke. I said it one time before, but it says people are like tea bags. You don't know how strong they are until you put them in hot water. and I like that because it makes so much sense, right? Think about that. Funny. People are like tea bags. You know, you don't know how strong they are until you put them in hot water.
That's so funny.
Until you get yourself in a pressure situation, you don't know. You might be that chick that deals with pressure good. You might be that dude that deals with pressure really, really good. But letting the fear of success of even, you know, the thought that this pressure might come to you, it can stop you. Like, I don't want to be the one.
I don't want to be the one. I don't want to be the one with that in my lap. I don't want to be making the decision at the end of the day when everything goes up. It's to everybody looking at you, what are you going to do? Because that's what it comes to. When everything hits the fan, yeah, they all going to be looking at you like, what do we do, boss?
They definitely coming to you.
What are we going to do?
They coming to you. You know, I trust me with Black by the Man. You know, being the creator, you know, of the brand in the show. When something pops off, they come straight to me. You, Brother Mike? Yeah, I am. Oh, yeah, I want to talk to you about something. I'm like, okay.
Okay, sidebar with that, real quick. I heard you was up there with Fruit of Balloon and Haynes now.
Yeah, let's speak on that. Thank you very much. So we added a new item to blackbytheman.com. It's a crisp V-neck white tee, you know, and it's authentic. Black by the Man white tee. We sell them for basically $10, you know, and it's just a quality tee. Everybody likes to have a fresh tee. So instead of rocking Hanes or Fruit of the Loom, you can actually get a Black by the Man tee.
Awesome.
Especially when you want to do your white events, you know, with your white outfit, you know, you have a nice fresh tee. Make sure you guys check that out at blackbytheman.com. Click on our catalog. It's not one of the featured products on the first page.
Okay.
You know, you got to click on catalog and then you can find it. Speaking of that catalog, we got a catalog. How funny is that? Thank you, Abba.
Oh, gosh.
So, yeah, we got that in. But, yeah, so fear of success was number 3. So let's move on to number 4 of the top 5 fears. Oh, I think this is a big one. Fear of criticism.
Oh, God.
Fear of criticism. This is an interesting phenomenon. People who put in the effort and have the skill to make, for example, a varsity sports team but ride the bench get laughed at, while those who don't try out at all get away with without ever taking the risk. It's unfortunate, but some people will laugh at you. People are so afraid of what others think that they'd rather not try. They would rather sit in the stands than risk sitting on a varsity bench. This fear of criticism by others is real fear and must be overcome before you can change. Fear of criticism. I like the first example about playing on the sports team. Like, you're getting laughed at because you're on varsity and you sit the bench. But the people who are laughing at you were scared to even come out and try. That's very powerful. You know what I mean? I think that's something we need to really grasp, because that's who the critiques usually come from. Because people who have tried things like you have, they're not going to critique you like that, because they're going to know, hey, at least he's trying. You know what I mean? At least he made the team. At least he's trying. How you sitting in the audience, but then you laughing at that person because they don't have the top position on the team? So you can see how that criticism could stop people from doing certain things. Now, I'll be transparent with myself. Like, I've had people make comments in regards to me about feeling, you know, like, well, who is he to be, you know, speaking on what black people need and should do, so forth and so on, when he used to do this. Now, they're referring back to something when I was 19, you know what I'm saying, 21, 22. But the fact that they have that thought, they haven't accepted that I've evolved, and they're showing me that they haven't evolved. So they're projecting their fears onto me. They can't do what I've done. They can't come from my background and then evolve to where I'm at. So because of that, they want to try to hold me accountable for something I did 25, 30 years ago. And I refuse to let them do it, because I believe that the man you are at 20, if you're that same man at 40, you have wasted your life. And I definitely am not the same man that I was as a young man. But this is how people try to critique you. You understand what I mean? Because they don't, you know, have the gall or the courage to do what you're doing. Now, as far as what makes me qualified to be the host of the Black by the Man radio show and have an opinion on the black community. I'm black, okay? So that's my qualifications.
Yeah.
Every black person in America is 100% qualified to speak on the conditions of our community as a people. Now, we've been trained to believe that this should only come from people with certain credentials, but that's not true. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because people with certain credentials are not the only black people that suffer what we suffer in America. Matter of fact, they probably suffer less. So why would we only want to hear from them?
Right.
I'm a normal dude like everybody else. Now, I do believe in studying the scholars. I read the books, I watch the videos, go to the seminars. But if none of that existed, I'm qualified because I'm black.
Yeah.
So for that person, if you're out there listening, I hope that answered your question for you. That's the fear of criticism that people want you to accept. I personally don't accept it. You're not going to make me feel bad because I sit the bench when you ain't on the team.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? You know? So do we think this is something people suffer from?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Like, nobody likes criticism.
Right.
Nobody.
So just the fear of thinking if I do this, certain people, family, friends, co-workers, is going to look at me a certain way, maybe even slander me behind my back.
And people even try to dress up criticism, because they'll just be like, oh no, it's just constructive criticism. Criticism.
Maybe that's where we should ask for their qualifications.
Yeah.
What qualifies you to give me constructive criticism?
That's what I would like to know from Jump Street. Like, what qualifies you to even give constructive criticism?
Because I'm not an expert on it, but it seems like constructive criticism should come from people who have experience in what they're critiquing you on. How you giving me constructive criticism if I'm a baseball player and you play the piano?
I was going to say they better have mastered it. If you're about to give some constructive criticism, then you must have mastered it.
Right.
Because at this point, this is the only time you can give some constructive criticism.
At least have knowledge on it.
How as if you're the boss and you're an employee and you're like, oh no, it's just constructive criticism. Like, seriously?
It's a disguise.
Oh, we about to play this game right now?
So you think they're disguising it?
Yes, it's a disguise.
For really putting you down.
It's criticism.
Criticism.
They put the word constructive, a lot of people like to put constructive in front of it.
See, so you must be right, the fact that this is one of the top fears. You know what I mean? Because why else would we have that fear unless we thought exactly what you just said? The criticism may come off like they're trying to do positive, but in all reality, they're firing shots at you.
Firing shots.
They're firing shots.
You know, people famous for that. They love to do it. They wait for the moment to blast it out, and some folks just don't want to deal with it.
So this is paralyzing us.
I've watched people not accept superior positions because they just don't want to deal with it. They don't want to have to deal with the criticism. They don't, and they would say that. I don't want this position because I don't. They would tell you.
Yeah, it definitely takes a lot of courage. You know what I mean? Usually to do something that's outside of the box, to be a manager, to be a boss, to be someone who's delivering knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, you're going to have people that's not going to like you. And you got to get tough skin to realize you know what you're doing is good and it's beneficial for you or beneficial for others, and just kind of, you know, power through it. But I definitely get the psychology of how it can mess with you. You know, I've experienced it. I just simply overcame it. You know, my strength is that, you know, I can be a little stubborn and I can remove from myself the care of what other people think.
And then of course they think about the constructive criticism, because that's why, you know, they're trying to be pleasing.
Right.
So that they won't get the constructive criticism.
So they won't receive constructive criticism. Great point. Great point. Y'all see how she tied that back into the first fear? That was nice.
I'm assuming that's why he's explaining it the way he is, and that's why he goes step by step, and you start off first with this and second, because it all makes sense.
Yes.
It just all makes sense.
So we got the fear of criticism. If anybody out there has ever experienced, you know, not doing something that they wanted to do because of fear of criticism, you know, feel free to type it in. Let us know. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. All right, so let's go to number 5. So number 5 is fear of the new. Fear of the new. People are afraid of anything that's new or different. Black Bottom Man Radio Show. It is an incredibly debilitating and painful fear. Instead of using the opportunity of life to live well, people put themselves in a cage and live stagnant and a mediocre life. It sounds horrible, but understand that this fear is like any other and it can be overcome. So the fear of something new. Okay, so with me personally, I'll go back to me. For some people that I grew up with, that's what they're seeing in me. They think they're seeing something new. It really isn't. Now, the people who were closest to me would say to them, oh, no, that's nothing new with him. He's always been of that vibe. It's just now he's exposing it where y'all get to see it. Whereas before, he would only talk like this around us out of fear of criticism. I didn't want everybody else to be looking at me like who he think he is, this, that, and the third. So when I overcame that fear, thanks to the Most High God, he gave me the strength to say, this is what I assigned you to do, Mike. I need you to get out there and do it, and don't worry about what they thinking. So here I am. Brother Mike, Black by the Man radio show. So that's my testimony. That's my testimony.
Right, and I could tell you or whatever, because even though we all don't know your story personally, but like even with all of that, with Black by the Man, creating it, even with the success that comes from Black by the Man, you have to, lose a lot of loved ones, a lot of friends, because they can't handle the success. They're not going to be able to handle your success.
Yeah, family and friends.
That's why people are afraid to be successful. A lot of people know from the beginning, I'm going to lose a lot of friends. I'm going to lose probably half my family because they're not going to be able to handle my success.
Right. And that's sad.
And that's why a lot of people get afraid to even be successful.
Yeah, that's terrible too.
People are not going to like it.
You are going to have some people that's not going to like it.
So you're going to have to be ready for change. You're going to have to be ready to be different, because it's going to cost all of those things. Your life will change.
It will change. Fear of the new. They're fearful of the new. Fearful of the new Brother Mike, the new Miss Janice, fearful of the new them.
All the people that you were trying to be pleasing to in the beginning, like it doesn't matter anymore. Like it's just one big change. So
they say you're not they say you're not enjoying life. You're not living well. You're not living well if you're fearing the new person that's in you that wants to come out. Now, I could be wrong on this, but I feel like a lot of us, we have someone trapped inside of us that wants to get out. Somebody that wants to do something different. It doesn't fit the background you come from, but that person wants to emerge because that's what you're into. That's what you like, but you kind of do it on the low, and it's only a few people that really know that you like doing it or like talking about it. And I just employ people to let that person out, because that could be your higher self.
Yes.
That could be your best you, and that could be the path you were meant to be on in this life. And you won't discover it if you let the fears of others, the fear of change, with all these that fit underneath of it, stop you from reaching that level of growth.
Yes, I would have to say the same thing. Please let that person out, because like you said, that can be the best you. That could be the most powerful you. I mean, that person that's inside that want to come out.
Copy.
Whew, just let her out.
I'll read a quote here, not quote, comment, sorry. Terry Hegg says, fear of change and new things, scared to dream past your sight, reach past your friends and family's thoughts of how you can go. Please yourself, don't live for others. Absolutely. Let me give you a bell on that, Terry. Absolutely. Live for yourself. It's a bit of selfishness involved when you want to take care of you. There are going to be people who have a problem with it, especially if you were someone who was always trying to be pleasing and they were able to take advantage of that and use you. Don't let that happen. Be the new you. Let who you are out. But whatever you do, stay with us here at the Black by the Man radio show. We up on break. We'll be back.
Like the one thing you always gotta remember is people gonna try to project their insecurities onto you. But you can't listen to what them niggas saying. You gotta get out here and do your shit regardless. You gonna do what you love for the rest of your life anyway. So why not turn that shit into something? Be a man of everything you say. This shit bigger than me, man. Like yeah, I'm good and all that, but you know what I mean? I ain't shit without y'all. what you up to, just go hard. Don't let it. Can you imagine how I really having nothing is? Stomach growling, you ain't got no food in the fridge. Surviving on a jail diet of water and bread. No father figure, that's cause my father dead. Mom's bringing different niggas in and out the crib. No money, so you seen it's less than all your friends. But it a joke because your mother was a crackhead. Older sister hoeing off, giving all her homies head. I could wait for your response, but they let her hear me talk, so I just wait for the applause. I always knew that I was great, I got them haters so appalled. I'ma make it out the darkness, and my word is my bond. Delivering these bars while I'm gripping on my balls. Jealous niggas hate to see you succeed, so fuck them all. I'm the master of my destiny, nigga, you not in charge. You either on your grind or in the way, so get lost. Be a man of everything you say you stand for. Lead your people by example, being hands-on. If you're back against the wall, then get your mash on. Fix your vision on the future like it's fast forward. The world is yours in due time, ain't gotta ask for it. I'm from the school of hard knocks, I took a crash course. Should be stressful, my nigga, that's why I'm getting high.
You are listening to Be Exposed Radio.
That I live by. And you know how it is in New York, nigga. They say money comes by happiness, but I be happy as a bitch when I can have dinner. Learn from your losses, or you end up like the last
Things
nigga.
you need to quit. This is based on a post put up by Dr. Boyce Watkins. I did the research to give a little bit more information on the post, and we're kind of challenging it to see if it's actually things that we need to quit. And as I stated before, these are not Dr. Boyce's words. This is from research from other sources. Okay, so I want to read a couple comments here. All right, Derek Woodson says, real talk, people will not let you change. Speak the truth, black man. Thank you, Mr. Woodson. Appreciate that. This particular brother is with us on the BBD team. He's been on the show, so he kind of knows my story firsthand. Him and I have had conversations where he basically explained he doesn't understand why the people from our area that we grew up with, so forth and so on, won't accept that Brother Mike's a different dude than what he was when he was younger. You know, so for him to say that means a lot to me. I appreciate that, brother. That encourages me. Ms. Johnson says, people want to stay in their comfort zone. Sometimes the best outcome comes from the most uncomfortable situations. At least that's what I've been taught. Yes, I agree with that as well. And both of you guys' comment is perfect for number 2 that we're moving on to of the things we need to quit, which is living in the past. So number 2 is living in the past. And both of those just touched on that. So that's perfect timing on that. So let's talk about it. Living in the past is a problem because it robs you of the opportunity to enjoy the present. Not enjoying the present is not a good thing. If you aren't happy where you are living in the past won't help. Living in the past allowed you to avoid dealing with issues in the present. So that fits perfect with what they just said. And for Mr. Woodson, that's what's going on with them, brother. They're living in the past, you know, and it's preventing them from growing. You know, they got problems. I ain't got no problem. I'm Gucci. No, I'm not. I'm BBD. We don't do Gucci no more.
We don't do Gucci. Like,
So yeah, living in the past. So just off the back, is this one of the things that we should quit doing?
yes.
I think so too.
You know, we so often live in the past because even it's horrible. Like, most people remember you just by your past alone.
Isn't it terrible?
Like, even especially if you're a better person today, everybody's going to want to recognize your past self.
I feel like within the black community, you know what I mean, below the poverty line, which is what most of us come from, family and friends, I think they struggle when people evolve. Like, they don't like it. I don't know if it's because they haven't evolved or they are fearful that you're going to become something that they could never dream to be, but they don't tend to let you evolve. Like, I got people that have an issue with me and they like, he stole my chocolate milk in 8th grade. You know what I'm saying? I don't like him. You know, and it's like, wow. You know, and they don't understand. They're the ones that's got the issues. It's not me. So a lot of people live in the past. You know, they talk about the past. You know, oh, remember back in the day when I used to have the red Acura Integra? And it's like, yeah, that's cool, but like, it ain't benefiting you now. You know, like, it's gone. You know?
And even a lot of people still live in the past too, because, you know, there are some people in the past when you used to be, say you was at your best in the past, and now you might be a little downgraded, but you was at your best in the past, and now you could be moving on, doing something good, something better, or something different, but you still staying in the past. So when you used to be this great person, okay, you're not there anymore.
Right.
Let it go.
Yeah, that's kind of like the reverse.
Let's move on.
Yeah, that's kind of like the reverse, right? I mean,
and some people live in the past like that and keep from, becoming their higher self too, because they're so busy that past life, they can't let it go.
That was their high point for them. So because that was their high point,
they cannot let it go.
25 years ago, that's where they mentally tend to stay at.
Mentally stay there, don't let it go, and just be like, in high school, I was the man, homie.
What? What happened to you? I'm trying to tell you, I get around guys my age, I'm mid 40s, and they talk about high school football games, and I don't know, I'm just sitting there looking strange at them. Like, I'd much rather talk about cryptocurrency or, how to solve some of these issues we have in the black community. But they'll want to talk about, the football game where they scored 4 touchdowns at Polk High.
Some people will stay in their past life so long that years and years will go by and they would have done nothing in those years.
It literally says that living in the past is robbing you of the opportunity to live in the present. And that's pretty much, I think, what we're saying. Like, you're being robbed of your opportunity to live in the present.
It could be even better in the present. Just let the past go. The past is the past. The past is a past for a reason.
Absolutely.
Obviously, the present is here. This is here. This is now.
It's done with. It's in the history books. It's over.
You have your memories and all of that, but it's time to do something different. And now you could be keeping yourself, like you said, from being the best you. And now there's, somebody sitting inside ready to come out, and you just leaving that person, and that person just going to die soon.
Absolutely. Terry Haig said that's kind of my reason for not coming back to Maryland on the regular, because they expect me to be like I was when we were in our teens. I left because I wanted change, brother.
Nice.
Absolutely, Terry. And I don't blame you, because I'm still in here in Maryland. And they want me to be who I was in my teens, in my 20s. So you definitely made the right move, brother.
People want you to stay in the past. When people see you evolving, they don't like it.
They don't like it.
And it's because of what you said. A lot of them don't evolve. And
yes.
since they don't evolve, they don't want you evolving.
Right. So if you stood on the block with them and you drank beer and smoked weed, 30 years later, they're like, how dare you tell someone not to do that? But they're not grasping that when people know better, they do better. So just because someone did it when they was young, it doesn't mean now that they're grown, they're going to approve of the other young folks doing it. Like the people who was telling us not to do it back then, they were grown, but they probably did the same thing when they was young. Like, this is how you give back to your community. You don't put yourself in a position where you say, I have no right to say that to that 19-year-old, because when I was 19, I was smoking weed too. That doesn't matter. You're now 46 and you're grown, so you do have a right to tell him not to do that. That way he doesn't make the mistakes that you made. And I'm just using that as an example.
Psychological warfare is bad for us.
Yeah, it definitely did some damage on us, but a lot of us are stuck in the past. We really do keep our mentality in the past. Again, where we're from, Harford County area, I have a lot of people in Harford County that they refuse to support me because of some argument we had when I was 23. You know what I'm saying? Or, things of that nature. Like, I feel sorry for them. You know what I mean? Like, if you're that twisted mentally, like, you need help.
But that's very twisted mentally to me, because I just can't understand that.
Right.
Like, again, I can't understand. My understanding is not there. I don't understand why they wouldn't support because of something 20 years ago or 25 years ago.
Yeah.
That, like you said, it just,
well, the reality is, a lot of people who get down like that, they simply use that as their excuse. They don't want to support really because it's jealousy and envy and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, but you have to remember, most of the time, the things that people remember you for, like, let's take your chocolate milk thing for example. Like, if they say, you stole my chocolate milk back in 8th grade. Okay, but you stole somebody else's chocolate milk back in 8th grade too. Like, the very thing that they hold you accountable for is the very thing that you've done, but yet it was a crime for me.
Absolutely.
But for you,
I support that statement, and I'm gonna take it a little deeper. Even if it isn't the same crime, What they're not understanding is they're not going to want someone to hold them accountable for something they did 25 years ago, whether it's minuscule or whether it's, large. Either way, 25, 30 years later, you should be dealing with a different person. You should be different. That person should be different.
Not only that,
you know what I mean?
And they're going to give the exact answer you gave, because the whoever, Tom, that comes up to you to tell you that, you're going to be like, Tom, that was 20 years ago.
Right. Well, see, that's the thing. That's why they don't never say it to the source. They say it to the other people. Because if you go to the source is probably going to make you feel shameful about that, especially when they say to you, I don't even remember that. Now, you see how that's going to shame you? You've been holding on to something for 25, 30 years that the person you've been holding it on against don't even remember it. See, that's because they've been living and you have been stuck. You get what I mean? So I'll read a comment. Mr. Woodson says, because they love misery, change evolves with a price, meaning you have to lose to gain success in your journey. Absolutely. Absolutely. And unfortunately, I feel, and I could be wrong, but I feel within the black community, we do not do well with family and friends when they evolve and become something else. Like I tell people, if you ain't got a problem with a butterfly going from a caterpillar to a butterfly, then, don't have a problem with a human going from a caterpillar to a butterfly. Why would you still want them to be a caterpillar crawling on the ground looking for scraps when now they decided to spread their wings and fly out and about and see how the rest of the world feels about them? But we don't do well with that. We don't like it at all.
Again, my understanding is different. I don't understand why is that the case, but because it's a simple choice. If you don't want to evolve, that's fine. Don't. But don't try to prevent somebody else from evolving if that person would like to.
Absolutely. What about living in the past with relationships?
So,
do a lot of us do that?
Of course a lot of us do that, because there's a lot of us still stuck in relationships because of the past. It was beautiful in the past, and it's been a mess the last 10 years, but the 10 years before that was great. So yeah, a lot of us get stuck in relationships.
So we have to stop doing that as well.
From the past too.
So I definitely agree with this one. This is things we need to quit. We have to quit living in the past.
And then vice versa. Of course, 10 years ago, this person was horrible in relationships, but now 10 years later, this person can be the best in relationships.
They may have evolved.
So it could go either way. It could go both ways.
They may have evolved, right? And the previous relationship that they had may be the reason that they evolved. Now, it's a bad thing for the person that went through it with them before they evolved. Does that play a part as to why they can't accept or like that they're different now? Because I've heard both men and women say, well, she wasn't like that when she was with me. He wasn't like that when he was with me. So, excuse me. So is that them struggling, with the fact that this person has evolved?
Yes, they're struggling, but it's also with what you said earlier. It's just the thing of when you know better, you do better.
Bingo.
It's
when you know better, you do better.
And you learn. You learn. The more you know, the more you grow. It's just the way it goes.
I like that one. The more you know, the more you grow. See, we spit rhymes and everything at the BBD radio show, you know what I mean?
It's just the way it is. So, unfortunately, and a lot of times, if the person have evolved, what they would do, when a man or a woman be like, you wasn't that way with me, if they wasn't their best self then, they would just apologize, like, no, I wasn't, and I apologize for that. But unfortunately, I didn't know better right then for me to do better. I do now. And that's just the way it is.
And people struggle with that.
People struggle with that.
They struggle with accepting that that's who you are now.
They struggle with it, but
that's terrible,
they have to
right?
remember, yes, because we have to evolve.
So I think this plays a part in the cliche that it's lonely at the top. You've heard that cliche before?
Yes.
Because if you try to move to the top and whatever you do, it's going to be a lot of people that drop off that you rocked with throughout your process.
Because people like your past self. People like who you was in the past. They like when you was miserable. They like when you wasn't successful. They like when you was doing everything that they like to still do.
Right.
They like that.
They like when you wasn't smarter than them.
So now that you this different person who want to do these different things, it's just a different ball game for you. And that's why a lot of people are afraid of change, because they don't want all of these changes coming to them at once.
Right.
It could be overwhelming. It could be overwhelming to lose your friend after 40 years of
Right.
friendship. That could be overwhelming for a person. It could be overwhelming when your mom showed up at everything and now she don't, because she can't stand to watch you grow or be successful.
Yeah,
it could
that
be
happens.
overwhelming. So
That
some
definitely
people
happens.
won't. You know, they get a little bit taste, because that's how it is when you get a little taste of success and you start experiencing these things from family and friends, and on that side you don't like it. On the successful side you're liking what you see, but on this side you're not. So now you're not pleasing folks. So now you have to come back to pleasing people, and that brings you
Right.
back down to your comfort zone of when you used to want to please everybody and do it this way, and now you miss out on being successful or the best you.
Right.
Because you're not focusing and thinking about yourself at this point.
Miss Johnson says, I'm with the lovely Miss Janice with that comment. It doesn't make sense to hold on to the past. You have to let it go. Be free. It will make you It will make you a much happier person within your own life. Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with that. Absolutely. You got to let it go, because the thing about the past, and this is real simple what I'm about to say, right, is it's over. It's over. It happened. It's in the history books. You know, it's in the history books. But what happens is we tend to continue to think about it, right? And that's what keeps us living in it, which is perfect for the next one, because number 5 is overthinking. So we moving right along here. So number 5 is overthinking, which is what's keeping us there, right? So it says overthinking comes in 2 forms: ruminating about the past and worrying about the future. Overthinking involves dwelling on how bad you feel and thinking about all the things you have no control over. It won't help you to develop new insight. So we're overthinking when we're stuck in the past. We're overthinking. All right, so I got 10 signs that you might be an overthinker. And I just know I'm fitting in here.
I'm sure everybody's going to find one or two.
Let me pause for the cause, because I already know I'm an overthinker.
I'm sure there's going to be an overthinker for everybody there.
So this is very healthy for me.
Oh, gosh.
10 signs that you may be an overthinker. Number 1, I relive embarrassing moments in my head repeatedly. I think that's a good one. I relive embarrassing moments in my head repeatedly.
Now, that's one I don't do.
All right. Now we got a winner on this one.
Yeah, I've let embarrassing moments go a long time ago. I can't even think of an embarrassing moment. I can't even think of it, because they've been gone out of my mind for so long that I don't even know the last. I can't even tell you the last one.
Well,
I can't even tell you the first one.
I do know that I've experienced this, right? It doesn't happen to me anymore, but I'm gonna tell you how I got over it, right? Because I used to be a stickler for this one, you know. I would dwell on it, you know what I mean? Like, oh God, you know, they probably think I'm crazy, you know, whatever, right? But the way I got over this one was I investigated the psychology of being embarrassed. So this is what I found out. You are only embarrassed if you feel it. So embarrassment is a self-fulfillment. Okay, so if I do something on stage and everybody in the audience feels embarrassed for me, as long as I don't feel it, I'm not embarrassed. You get what I mean? So I worked on mastering not feeling embarrassed just because someone else is feeling embarrassed for me. Now, the key word is, I said, I worked on mastering. I don't have it mastered, but I'm better at it. You know what I mean? Because now I understand what embarrassment is. It doesn't matter how much people can say, oh, I'm so embarrassed for him. If I don't feel it, if I'm not feeling embarrassed, if I walk out on stage and fall, and then they're embarrassed for me, and I just get up like, God damn. Anyway, hey everybody, welcome. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not embarrassed.
Well, see, I don't think I like that one too much. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Because I could be anywhere. Like, I could be out to eat. Like, okay, probably like a week or two ago, I was just in a restaurant eating, and there was a black woman come in. She had an issue with waiting, and she was just going on, and it was just unnecessary, and I was embarrassed for her.
Right.
So you telling me because she don't feel embarrassed, that it wouldn't have been embarrassed because she made me embarrassed because I was just a black woman and I'm just sitting there like.
Well, let me ask you, did it seem like she felt embarrassed?
Nope.
See?
She couldn't have because she kept going and going and going.
See, that's what I mean. So you walked away feeling embarrassed for her, but in her mind, she was like, "Oh, I laid the law in there." You know, I set all them people straight.
And I was embarrassed like a.
Right. You was embarrassed at her behavior. Is that what I'm getting? I get it.
So so you're telling me because she don't feel embarrassed, it's just not even.
She's not embarrassed. She doesn't experience it. You can experience it for her, but it ain't gonna mean nothing if she don't feel it. Which means what? She'll go to the next situation and do the same thing because she wasn't embarrassed at that situation. So number one was I relive embarrassing moments in my head repeatedly. Number two, I have trouble sleeping because it feels like my brain won't shut off.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us at a minimum have experienced that. Now I actually know a couple people that they feel like this is every night for them. You know, like I've literally had people who say, you know, I have trouble sleeping at night. You know, I didn't know this was such a widespread thing. Like, you know, like it's actually a lot of people that have trouble sleeping at night.
It really is.
I didn't know that. That's an overthinker.
Oh, that's because
10 signs of you might be an overthinker.
Oh, okay.
That's an overthinker.
Okay.
Now,
I mean, because it's not something that I don't have trouble sleeping at all. But, ooh, that's really good. Because the only time I've had trouble sleeping is when I was embarrassed about something, which would have been like my behavior. And then I would have had trouble sleeping. And yeah, so I've experienced it.
Okay. I've literally had people come to me about this particular subject and ask me advice. You know, like I can't sleep at night. My mind's constantly moving. It's constantly running. I got several different solutions for this. They're going to be interesting solutions.
What you have? What do you have?
This is what I say. The easiest one, if you can't sleep at night, is to read a book. I promise you'll fall asleep.
Yeah, you're going to sleep on that.
One of two things is going to happen if you can't sleep at night and you start reading a book. A, you're going to fall asleep. B, if you don't fall asleep, you're going to become more intelligent. It's a win-win. It's a win-win because you're going to keep finishing books, right? Number two, edibles. Mary Jane is legal. Edibles. I've literally told someone you should try an edible.
Oh my gosh.
They did it. Had the best sleep of their life. Edibles. It's legal. You can go to your doctor. I have problems sleeping. I would like to try some of the cannabis solutions. Try an edible. But the number one answer for me, right? And this is over top of all answers. If you believe in the Bible, you believe in scriptures, the Most High God said rest comes from Him. So if you are a person that is an overthinker and that you are not able to get proper rest at night, you should try to dig deeper into finding the Most High God, because this is where rest comes from. So that's actually my number one answer, but I wanted to give a couple carnal answers as well. That's the spiritual side. You get rest through the Most High. Now I'm going to tie it together.
Okay.
The book that you can read when you don't get rest can be the Bible. You're going to fall asleep because you're doing something that's in step with God. He's going to allow you to rest at night. That was my advice for him.
Absolutely.
Y'all tell me what y'all think about that. But that was my advice.
I think it's lovely.
Yeah, that was my advice.
Because it's actually something that I've witnessed. Because on the few nights where I couldn't fall asleep, like I had to go to the Most High to get my brain to shut down. Because my brain wouldn't shut down or whatever. Sometimes when your brain don't shut down, it's almost scary.
Yes.
Because it's going so fast. It's a crazy feeling.
Right. We deal with powers and principalities. You have to seek some type of help
for that.
Right. We deal with powers and principalities. It's written in the scripture. So it could be unclean spirits that are messing with you, keeping your mind active. So that's my solution on that one.
Good.
All right. Number 3. I ask myself a lot of what if questions. I know I've done that. You know, where you go through a situation and you start thinking of all the possible scenarios and outcomes. What if this happens? What if this don't happen? That could be a sign that you're an overthinker. Number 4, I spend a lot of time thinking about the hidden meaning in things people say or events that happen. Now, I'm guilty of that. I will overthink. Look, I'll tell you, true story, right? I'm so bad with that sometimes when people compliment me, I almost think it's something sinister in it. You know what I mean? Because I'm so used to, like, us as a people consistently critiquing each other. Like, we're not known for saying good stuff about each other. So when someone actually gives me an honest compliment, you know, like, you know, I really like that show, so forth and so on. I like what you're doing. Like, I get the squinted eyes on them, like, you being serious? You know, and it's really just me overthinking. Yes. And I'm about to blow the compliment that somebody's offering me, right? So I'm guilty of that. I'm guilty of that. I overthink things sometimes because this world is just, you know, it's filled with such wickedness. I be thinking, you know, people being sarcastic, and they actually not being sarcastic. And I probably think that because I'm sarcastic. I'm being transparent today, y'all. I'm being transparent. All right, so number 5. I rehash conversations I had with people in my mind and think about all the things I wished I had or hadn't said.
Wow.
That's an overthinker.
Yes.
I think everybody's guilty of doing that.
At least.
Yeah.
At one point in
every
their life.
now and then, right? Every now and then. Okay. Yeah. Number 6. I constantly relive my mistakes. Yeah, I'm guilty of that too. See, I shouldn't have never even read this list. Because I know I'm all through this list. You know?
Gosh.
I constantly relive my mistakes. I do that. Do you do that? No, you just move on.
Just move on.
Okay. You're lucky.
No. It didn't get that way by chance. I had to work on it. But a lot of times, it's like, I think I came up with the decision that I can't keep punishing myself for those mistakes. I have to leave them. I have to move on.
That's real good.
So,
because I think that ties into wanting to please everybody. You know, so if you leave a situation and then you constantly thinking about the mistake you made, you subconsciously know that you wasn't pleasing to that situation, that group of people, or that particular person.
And remember, you never have to keep reliving your mistakes, because you remember there's somebody in the world who's going to do it for you already. Don't worry. Don't ever think about you won't see that mistake again. You will. There's somebody
they're not going to let you live it down.
There's no need to beat yourself up about it. You just wait until you run into that person who's going to do it for you. So that's another
thing. You can let it go because they're going to hold on to it.
Let it go because somebody else going to hold it anyway. It's going to come back.
Oh, that was good. All right, look, stay with us. We up on another break. It's the Black Bottom Man Radio Show. We'll be back. Yes, you get the bell on that one. No need to worry about that.
No need to worry about that.
They is going to keep it.
Remember that time when
generate more sales. Restaurants, bars, hotels, auto dealerships, real estate offices. Whatever your business, Fantasy Sports Contest can help you increase your sales and bring you more loyal customers. Visit Fanify.com or call 888-55-SPORT. Our software lets you customize contests fast and easy for your brand. That's right. Visit Fanify.com or call 888-55-SPORT. That's 888-55-SPORT. Or visit Fanify.com.
Check out this snippet from the new season of Talk Lately with Monty about Jennifer Holliday.
Anyway, let's get back to
yeah. Well, what I wanted to say is that I can understand 100% where Jennifer Holliday is coming from, and that's sort of kind of where my 20% came from. When I basically came out and said who I voted for, I received a lot of backlash. Even on my own talk show, which comes on every Monday from 5 to 7 p.m., I was called a coon. Okay, yeah, shout out for the plug. But yeah, someone actually, you know, they told CJ Bernie that I was a coon, and that really hurt me. I've been called everything from a fat whatever and everything, but someone actually commented on his Facebook
I didn't even say that. That's kind of
called me a coon, but it's like I like you. It's crazy because I just feel like someone like Jennifer Holliday. I understand why she stepped down, but I'm kind of upset with her because I think she still should have performed. You know, if you're going to jump out there, then stand in your truth. Don't let no one stop you or change your mind about anything. And listen, no one put a gun to her head and made her sign on for that. But it just seems
Right.
like,
Just
you
like
know, she
nobody
was
put a gun-
basically,
but
she
they
was
gonna-
bullied.
But see, the thing about it is they will put a gun to her head to not do it.
I don't think so.
Well, that's what the threat says. You gotta tell. It's why it's called a threat. You don't know the hypotheticals in there that could happen to you.
Why do you think
she's
she
not
was
a well-known
receiving-
singer, so she's not going around with security. As soon as she goes to get her tracks at the mall,
Right.
pow.
Right, but at the same
Now
time,
we got a whole bunch of dead cats.
Yeah, but like what she said in the footage, you know, today on The View was basically it's not white people who was threatening her. It was us who was threatening her.
Right. Where you think she live? I think she live in Atlanta.
Exactly.
They gonna get her at the Ku Klux Klan mall and drag her by her hair. You know her hair made a cat. She got the new weave.
I don't have Jennifer Holiday money, honey. I don't know what this, it might be because it's. I don't got Jennifer Holiday money, but me personally, I feel as though, you know, like I said, once I kind of came out, and even being on this show, because I'm pretty sure the headline says Trump supporter, I'm putting a lot of myself out there. You know what I'm saying? So I get it.
Every Tuesday at 7 p.m. only on BeExposedRadio.com.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
All right, so welcome back to the last segment of the BBD Radio Show. We were talking 5 things you need to quit based on a post by Dr. Boyce Watkins. So we were going over number 5, which was overthinking, and we were giving you 10 signs that you might be an overthinker. And we really got a good laugh on that last one. So I think that was number 6. So we'll go on to number 7. Number 7 is when someone says or acts in a way that I don't like, I keep replaying it over and over in my mind. So this sounds like you're trying to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like someone acts a certain way, and then you walk away and thinking, why was he acting like that? Or,
Mhm.
you know, why was she acting like that?
Yeah, way overthinking.
You could be overthinking.
Mhm.
Number 8, sometimes I'm not aware of what's going on around me because I'm dwelling on things that happened in the past or worrying about what might happen in the future. So they saying that's a part of overthinking that's actually ruining your focus. That's interesting.
That is very interesting. And
Yeah.
it's very true. It's very true too. Because if you think about it, a lot of times, you don't even pay attention to what's going on around you. You're not paying attention to what's happening around you because you are in your mind somewhere thinking about something from the past or something that's going to happen in the future, but you're not even thinking about what's going on right there. That's why a lot of
you're
times,
so mentally in the past, you're not even really aware of the present.
yeah, you ever been in a situation when somebody be like standing there waiting for the answer and you be like, oh, excuse me, what would you just say?
Right, yeah, true.
That person was gone for a minute.
They was gone. They was somewhere else.
They wasn't even aware of what was going on around them. They
Wow.
didn't hear the conversation or anything. So that's overthinking.
That's an overthinker. Okay, that makes sense to me. Wow. Okay. Number 9, I spend a lot of time worrying about things that I have no control over.
No control over. People
Now
do that
that
all
one
the
I'm
time.
pretty good at. I'm pretty good at not doing that one. I have reached a stage of maturity within my wisdom. When it's something I can't control, I can only stress it but so much.
Right.
I let that go. Like I can't control that, you know. So I can let that one go. Number 10 is I can't get my mind off worries. Now I tend to see this one a lot in black women. You know, like things that they're worried about. It's hard for them to get that off their mind, and I think it's rhymes and reasons for it. You know what I mean? First of all, they're mothers. That's kind of a natural instinct of a mother, you know?
But I think they just need, because it's kind of like overthinking. Some of them just need to change their worries over to just having a little concern or whatever. You know, it's totally two different things. Being concerned to being worried. Yes, be less worrisome, is that the word? And just be concerned.
Just be concerned. But it is considered to be overthinking.
It's way overthinking. You know, especially when you hit on the mother part. As a mother, you overthink you're going to overthink everything. So.
Well, that was number 10. On signs that you may be an overthinker.
So I guess there's a lot of people today who can be overthinkers.
I'm definitely one of them.
I'm sure you can find yourself somewhere in that 1 through 10 list.
Yes.
That was funny. That was a nice list, though. That was awesome.
If you can't find yourself within these 10, you're probably not thinking at all. You know what I mean? Because you gotta fit within one. I know I'm in there like several times.
You know it's bad when you're an overthinker. When somebody asks you like, what you thinking about? You so gone. Somebody looking at you and they'd be like, what was you just thinking about? And you just be like, huh? Like, how'd you know I was thinking about something? It must have been a look on your face.
Right. Okay, how to deal with overthinking.
Yeah, how to
if
deal
you
with
recognize that you tend to get caught up in overthinking, don't despair. You can take steps to reclaim your time, energy, and focus. From scheduling time to not worry to changing the channel, there are several mental strength exercises that can help you stop overthinking. So you would just simply have to look those up. We didn't have time today to go over everything, but it's tools out there to stop you from overthinking.
Good.
But of course, I always say, you know, go harder with the Most High, you know.
That's
go harder with
number
learning
one.
about God, developing a better relationship. This is going to, you know, definitely help with the overthinking. As far as the carnal side of it, I think you have to develop just a small I don't care attitude. You know, not huge where it's affecting other people's lives and you're being viewed as inconsiderate, but just within yourself. You know, don't care so much about things that have happened in the past. Don't care so much about you might have felt embarrassed. Don't care so much about what other people are thinking about you. Don't care so much about the fact that, you know, you might not have been the best representation of yourself on that particular day.
Right.
If you know it's really not who you really are, you know, let it go. It happens. We're all humans. One of the things that I think we fail at as humans, period, is when humans make a mistake. It's like we all forget that we're human. You get what I'm saying? You know, it's like if you see somebody in the grocery store and they drop a jar and they bust on the floor, you know, and everybody's looking in this astonishment like they ain't never had nothing slip out their hand before and bust on the floor, you know? So like, I try to keep myself in a mental state of mind of understanding everybody's human, you know? So when you see that car accident or somebody fall or whatever, or they slip up and say the wrong word, you know, yeah, we're all human at the end of the day. You know, so don't overthink it. So that would be my tip on that. But I will go over the 5 again real quick for those who caught the end of the show. Today's show was 5 things that you need to quit. This was based on a Facebook post that Dr. Boyce Watkins had put up. I decided to take the post and challenge those 5 things, do a little research. And again, the research we provided is not the words of Dr. Boyce Watkins. He just simply provided the 5 things that he believes that we need to quit. So number 1 was trying to please everyone. Number 2 was fear of change. Within the fear of change, we had the 5 most common fears, which are fear of failure, fear of pain, discomfort, and effort, fear of success, fear of criticism, and fear of the new. Number 2 was living in the past. Let me flip my page here. Number 3 was putting yourself down. You know what? We skipped number 3.
Yeah, we must have.
Sorry about that. We skipped number 3. Number 3 was putting yourself down. But the only thing we was going to say in regards to that is don't do it.
Right.
Don't see yourself as being too old, too fat, or not having time, because these are ways that we put ourselves down without knowing we're actually putting ourselves down.
Yes.
So if you say I don't have time to exercise, you're putting yourself down. If you say I'm too old to start learning karate, you're putting yourself down. Right? You get what I mean? So don't do that. And when people say something amazing about you, don't say, oh, it's no big deal. That is putting yourself down. That is something that I had to learn, and I still work on it. All right, so number 4 was I lost my place here. What was number 4? Well, anyway, number 5 was overthinking.
Yeah, don't
I think I'm overthinking this.
Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it.
Don't overthink it? Okay, yeah, so that's it. Oh, living in the past. There we go. Living in the past. I found it. So that was them in a nutshell. I hope you guys enjoyed today's show. We had fun bringing it to you. And as usual, I'm Brother Mike, your host of the BBD Radio Show on behalf of the BBD team, and my co-host, the lovely Miss Janice.
Yeah, and I just have one thing to end on today. Just please, please, please be more supportive. Support BBD.
BlackByTheMan.com. And you can support us at Patreon.com/BrotherMikeBBD. So on behalf of my co-host and the BBD team, I'll catch you guys on the flip side. It's the black side. Peace.